Wonderful. Wonderful. So, welcome to episode number 1 of this new season of Wise Confidence. I've run the Mindful Self-Discipline classes for 7 seasons, and some of them were double, so I think in total it was around 12 times each class. And now for this next 3 months, we are pausing a little bit with the self-discipline classes, and we are focusing on confidence, on wise confidence. And this is in preparation for a book of the same title that is being launched early March next year. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Giovanni Dinsman. I am a meditation teacher, author, and self-discipline coach. And every week I'll be here running these classes now on the topic of wise confidence. And this topic is part of the larger framework of mindful self-discipline, which is explained in this book. And wise confidence is not a different story. It's not something completely new. It is using the concepts of mindful self-discipline to help us achieve a self-transformation. A transformation from self-doubt, hesitation, fear, anxiety, to self-confidence, courage, determination, empowerment. That is the theme. This transformation is the theme of this series. But the tools you're going to learn from episode 3 onward, you can use them for any other type of self-transformation that you want to go through. So, I would love to hear from you as we're starting this class. How would you rate yourself in self-confidence from 1 to 10? Where 10 is, I believe in myself completely. I feel confident that I can overcome whatever challenges come my way. I can learn whatever skills I need. I have what it takes to achieve my goals. I am always on my side. That would be a 10. And then a 1 is, no, I am full of self-doubt. I beat myself up. I don't take the steps because I'm afraid of failing, or I'm afraid of whatever it is. And it's limiting me in several areas of my life. Okay, 5, 8, 8, 6, 5. mm. 4, 7. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Do you think it's unwise for anybody to have 10? No, that's a good question. We're going to talk about having confidence in a balanced way. But 10 would be, as long as it's not, 10 would be the perfect. It would be maximum confidence in a way that it's still balanced. And beyond that point, you still have a 10 in confidence, but you're starting to get some of the negative side effects. Because then confidence turns into arrogance or conceit, or it's overconfidence. But 10 would be the maximum that is still balanced. Okay, so let me show you the book. This is the book that will be published March 12th next year. And all of these classes, these 12 classes on wise confidence, is based on the topic of this book, on the teachings of this book. And it's already available for pre-order if you want to get it at mindfulselfdiscipline.com/pre-order. So as you can see here, there is the lion, the meditating lion, which is a symbol for my brand and for what I stand for as a meditation teacher. To have that balance between power and peace. And these are two things that are rarely seen together. They are the peace people and they're the empowerment people, but bringing them together in a way that is balanced, that is perhaps the core theme of my work. And that's why we have mindful self-discipline, the peaceful and the empowering. Wise confidence. That's the idea. That every virtue casts a shadow, that every strength can also be a weakness. if you overplay it, if it's not balanced with its opposite, with the opposite strength. Okay, so let's start talking about wise confidence. Do you feel that you are playing too safe in some areas of your life? Do you feel that you are being restricted by limiting beliefs or by your own self-image? Your self-image includes your sense of self-worth. It also includes the belief you have in yourself. And our self-image is a ceiling in our life. It's very unlikely that we'll rise above our self-image. But we can transform our self-image. And that is the work of self-transformation, the topic of this series. What would be possible for you if you had unshakable confidence, self-belief, and courage in all areas of your life? What goals would you pursue that are meaningful for you but that you're not currently pursuing? Would you feel more comfortable under your own skin? Would relationships and work flow better? Confidence is essential both for growth and well-being. And confidence is not arrogance, it's integrity. It is showing up as one, undivided. That is not that you're doing something and a part of you is criticizing you or pulling you back, saying that you shouldn't be doing this, that it's not going to work, that you're not good enough. That is being divided. Confidence is about integrity. It's about being one, fully integrated, fully energized, empowered individual. It is being on your own side, no matter what. It is having unwavering faith in yourself again and again, knowing that you're capable of achieving what you aspire to achieve. Wise confidence is about taking bold steps, betting on your capacity, betting on your success, but not having any delusion about it, and instead working hard to fulfill it with self-discipline, with consistency. It is being unapologetically you and having fun being you. So this series is about confidence from the inside out, a balanced, mindful approach to confidence. It's what I call wise confidence. I almost called it mindful self-confidence. I was thinking, should I call it mindful self-confidence or wise confidence? But then if I called mindful self-confidence and I write the next book, that should be mindful self-something. And I find that wise here gives me more the meaning that I'm trying to convey. Now, a little bit about my story. Confidence and self-esteem may come natural for some people. If you were lucky enough to be born and raised in an environment that was fully supportive by people around you, especially parents and siblings, that encouraged you to be who you are, to own your opinions, to go after what you want, that supported you in your dreams, that helped you build a positive self-image and believe in yourself and like yourself. That offered you unconditional emotional closeness, support. If you are lucky to be born and raised in one of these families, and they are each time more rare, at least in the West, then very likely you have self-confidence and self-esteem by default. A nurturing environment, yes. But that was not my case. That was not my environment. I was raised by a narcissistic mother who was unpleasable, manipulative, dominating. And so self-esteem and self-confidence was not given to me in a platter. I had to raise myself emotionally, psychologically. These qualities had to be conquered. They were not given. And there was a turning point for me. I think I was around 8 years old at that time, when I was in that turmoil, thinking about absorbing and processing all that was happening. And something inside of me, I don't know how or why, but something inside of me rebelled against that and refused to be shaped by my conditioning, by my environment. Something inside of me said, this is not who I am. I am strong. I am valuable. The world may be against me, but from now on, I will be on my side. I will take care of myself. That was this strong feeling. And these words might not have been articulated in this manner in the mind of an 8-year-old, but that was the underlying feeling. And in a way, that was the beginning of this book. That was the seed of what I call living inside out. That I'm not going to allow other people's feedback, behaviors, words. I'm not going to allow my environment to shape who I am, how I see myself, what I have the right to feel, to think, to do. I'm going to decide that internally, as per my essence, as per my values, my aspirations, and I'm going to express that onto the world, onto my life. Living inside out. And the reason I share this story, and in the book there are more details, is to tell you that it doesn't matter what was your past, and I know that there are many worse examples out there, much, much worse. But the point is, it doesn't matter what was your past, you can reinvent yourself. Your past doesn't need to determine your future. If you live without awareness, if you live unconsciously, it will. I have met many people who have had similar parents, some of them much worse. And they came to me for coaching. In some cases, they were struggling with crippling anxiety. At other cases, with a self-doubt and an inner critic that just won't shut up and won't let them do good things in their life. But they were aware that there is another possibility, that I can change my identity, my self-image. But for most people, if they're not doing any personal development work, they will live the rest of their lives inside that box. But that's not you. You are here. You practice meditation. You are watching these classes. If this is resonating with you, if you practice this, then change is possible. Whatever is that change that you want to make in yourself. What do you think of when you hear the term self-confidence? If self-confidence doesn't come natural to you, if you kind of admire it and desire it, and there is the sense that you want more of it, but at the same time there's a resistance. Maybe you think that self-confidence is fooling myself, it's being naive, it's delusion. Maybe you think it will involve taking too many risks and not being cautious. Maybe you think that if you become more confident, you will have an overbearing or domineering personality, that you become somewhat aggressive. That's what we know as toxic masculinity these days. Maybe you think that growing your confidence is not aligned with your spiritual beliefs or practices. Or you think that confidence involves arrogance, pretentiousness, bravado, ego, conceit. Perhaps you are a very compassionate person, empathetic, and you don't want to step on anybody's toes. You don't want to steal the show. There are many resistances that may exist inside of you, which are preventing you from stepping into your full empowered being. Do any of these beliefs or resistances resonate with you? If so, please let me know which in the comments. And the way that confidence is being taught these days by most authors, most YouTube videos, it's exactly that type of confidence that has the risk of becoming like that. And sometimes it's just exactly that from the beginning, from the outset. And so, no wonder that you may feel that pull towards becoming more confident, but you don't connect with the way it's being taught or spoken of by most people. That's what I felt. And that's why I've written this book, and I'm running this series, because they're just like with self-discipline, that most people, everybody knows that they need more self-discipline, but it's hard to connect. It can feel painful, difficult, undesirable. But then when you teach it the right way, in a way that you can digest, and you see that it's actually self-respect, integrity, taking care of your goals, etc., then you can embrace it. Then you can be disciplined. And it's the same thing with confidence. I realized that we needed a model of confidence that we could say a wholehearted yes to, without reservation, without fears of it bringing something bad for us. Okay, well done, Paola. You're ready. Yes. So, we're going to talk now about the 5 elements of self-confidence. And I'm going to open with a quote, as usual. This one from Orison Swett Marden. Half the battle is in the conviction that we can do what we undertake. That's about confidence. Confidence is a conviction. It's a belief. The 5 elements of self-confidence, I wanted to create an acronym around them, and it was really hard to find an acronym that preserves the right words. The best I could get to was DISCO: determination, integrity, self-belief, courage, and optimism. These are the 5 elements of self-confidence. I'm going to teach them now in a different order, in an order that makes sense when we're learning. But when you want to remember them, you can remember DISCO: determination, integrity, self-belief, courage, and optimism. We're going to start talking about self-belief. Self-belief is almost a synonym with self-confidence. It is that unshakable conviction that you can do what you set your mind to. It is betting on yourself, betting on success. You're not having any delusions about that you are better than what you actually are, that the path forward is going to be quick and easy. You don't think like that. You know that there might be failures. You know that there might be false starts and setbacks, challenges, obstacles. But above all, You believe in your capacity to overcome all of that. The opposite of self-belief is self-doubt. You are giving away your power. Which is why in Mindful Self-Discipline we say, doubt the doubter before you doubt yourself. That's a quote, I forgot who from. And in a way, this new book and system, Wise Confidence, it's an expansion of 2 chapters from Mindful Self-Discipline. Chapter 12, which covers self-belief, and chapter 29, which covers overcoming doubt. I felt that they are so important that they deserve a book of their own. So, self-belief is almost the same as self-confidence, but there are other elements. And how do we develop self-belief? Well, the more you are aware of your strengths, qualities, uniqueness, the more you will believe in yourself. And all of us have unique strengths and qualities. In the 3rd class of this season, we're going to cover discovering your core strengths and expressing your core strengths. But that is one way of developing self-belief. When you know that you have certain skills, certain capacities, certain virtues, you can believe in yourself a little bit more easily. The other way is thinking about all the successes you have had in your past. And it doesn't need to be something big. Thinking about all the times you have gone through a difficult situation and survived, solved a difficult problem, figured something out that you didn't know what to do with in the beginning. Whenever you do that, that's a win. And when you remember many of them, and maybe even take note, there is that exercise in the Mindful Self-Discipline workbook, which is Success Chronicles. You can download that for free in the resources page. And that's exactly this exercise of becoming aware of your wins. So that's another way of developing self-belief. If you are surrounded with people who believe in you, who encourage you, then it's also easier for you to believe in yourself. It's the mirror neurons. So all of this helps. But above all, self-belief is a choice. Just like you can choose what to believe in. It's a choice, not a logical conclusion. If it's a logical conclusion, it's not a belief. It's a conclusion. And so, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what is your past, you can choose to believe in yourself. And that belief in the beginning might be very thin. Might be just a small seed. But everybody can create that spark. Is this making sense? Are we still connected? Yes. What strategies or tools are in your experience successful to change limiting beliefs? Elena asks. Well, there are many tools. I'm going to teach all of the ones that I find most helpful throughout this series. This first class is more about, it's the introduction, it's understanding the model, it's understanding what self-confidence is really about. I love this. Self-belief is a choice, sometimes a very difficult choice. Yes. The fact that you have failed the 99 times doesn't mean you will fail the 100th. You can always choose to believe in yourself. You can always choose to get back up. And you don't need external validation for this. You don't need to look for proof outside yourself. There is an infinite potential inside of you. If you are a meditator, if you have spiritual beliefs, then this may connect to the image that you ultimately have about yourself. And we can derive great strength from that. That I'm not just a body-mind, I'm a spirit. And as Swami Vivekananda has said, never think that there is anything impossible for the soul. You may feel completely disconnected from that part in the depth of your being that has infinite potential. But it's there. And believing it's there, believing that you are like that, that is taking one step towards it. That is open a channel so that some of its light can come forward. Now, for those who are materialists, who just believe in matter, who don't believe in spirit, still, I mean, that idea is not going to do it for you because you don't believe in it. But just see what happens if you believe that there is infinite potential inside of you versus that you believe you are limited. And see what that does. And see which one leads you to live a better life. That is the thing. People using your ideas and then selling them as theirs and giving you no validation. We're going to have a full class about toxic people and how to deal with them. So, yes, there are people who do that, and much worse. And we cannot afford to be naive about malevolence. It exists. Toxicity exists. If we are naive about it, then we are vulnerable to it. And that's not a good thing. Jordan Peterson has said that everyone who doesn't have the capacity to be mean would be victim to someone who has. We don't need to become mean, but we need to have that capacity. We need to understand that malevolence exists in the world, and being naive about it will only make us suffer. So that's the first element of self-confidence, self-belief. The second one is courage. When you have more courage, it's easier for you to feel confident. When you have more confidence in your capacity, in yourself, it's easier for you to be courageous, to take meaningful risks. It's not that it's a catch-22 situation. It means that you can work on either side of the equation, that helping one, enhancing one will enhance the other. When you know that you need to go right, that you need to take this turn, that you need to take this step in your life because it's aligned with your values, because it's going to take you to where you want to go. You may also know that taking this step, that going this way, will be uncomfortable. You know that there is a chance of experiencing pain, be it physical, mental, emotional. There's a chance of experiencing loss. And so there's that duality. I want to move forward, but I don't want to move forward. The reward is at the other end of this journey, but I fear the journey because the journey may be painful. And we face situations like this, all of us, in our life. Perhaps on a daily basis. Something really small. Saying no to a temptation, or something big. Saying yes to a challenging job opportunity, or to a difficult conversation. So when there is that tension, we have two options. We can say, I'm not going to go there because it will be painful. And when you do that, you are prioritizing comfort over fulfillment, over growth. And then you live a smaller life. You don't grow as much. Or you can say, doesn't matter, I am doing this. I am doing this because it's important, because it matters, and it's worth the risk. And I can deal with the challenges and the pains that come. That is an act of courage. You are prioritizing growth, fulfillment, your aspirations on top of comfort. You're allowing them to speak louder than your fears. That's a good thing. So courage is our willingness to take a step forward towards our goals, even when doing that might include some pain. Does this make sense? Let me have a look if there are any questions, also on YouTube. Avoidance or courage? Yes, we can put it like that. The third element of self-confidence is optimism. And the opposite of optimism is negativity. Now it's about being optimist in a smart way, not in a deluded way. Again, balance. There are two ways to think about optimism. Optimism in relation to the future and optimism in relation to the present. Optimism in relation to the future is you betting on your success, betting on yourself, anticipating that things will work out. You're not thinking that they will work out immediately. You're not expecting the path to be quick and easy, but you anticipate that eventually things will work out. And when you think that way, you have more motivation. You are more focused, you're more willing and likely to take steps forward, to take positive action. You're betting on your success rather than mentally rehearsing failure and thinking how horrible it will be. When you're thinking of failure, you don't want to take action. When you're anticipating being successful, even though you expect that there will be challenges, then you want to take action. It makes the reward feel more real, more likely, closer. So that's optimism in relation to the future. And then there's optimism in relation to the present and also the past, which is interpreting things, reading things through a more positive light. If you lost your job, what does that mean? It's an event. Events have no meaning in themselves. We give them meaning according to the stories we tell ourselves, according to how we read them. For one person, losing the job could be, maybe this is the push I needed to try my own business, to make a career change. Maybe this is a good thing because there's probably a better job for me out there. That's optimism in how you were explaining to yourself what's happening. Positive explanatory styles, as it's called in positive psychology. Or you could tell yourself, this is horrible, I'm done. This is the worst thing that could happen now, the worst time that this could happen. Maybe it means that I have no success, no future in this industry, that this career is going to be a failure, that I'm not good at this. If you think that way, you're going to feel miserable. And again, that's a choice. And just like with the choice of believing in ourselves or not, these choices are very subtle. Most people don't realize that they are choices, because they are choices they have made years ago. That this is how I am, this is how I think about things. And maybe they were not even conscious choices, they were conditionings that were passed on to you from someone else. You were not born an optimist or pessimist. You were not born with self-confidence or self-doubt. When we are born, we have no idea who we are, what is the world, what is safe, what is unsafe, what should we go after, what should we avoid, what are we capable of. We have no idea. We learn this from people around us. Some people around us will teach us to be courageous and confident. Others will teach us to be anxious. And so that is a choice you might have made consciously or unconsciously a very long time ago, and then you just keep making that choice. But what I am pointing out is that that is a choice. If it's a choice that you have made, you can make another choice. And in the beginning, that new choice may feel very thin, small, weak, maybe even kind of artificial, hard to believe in. But if you stay with it, if you keep watering that seed, eventually that's going to become strong. It's just that the old story you have believed in for years or decades, and so it has a lot of momentum behind it. Even if you decide that I'm not going to believe in it anymore, it's still going to continue for a while because it has momentum. The metaphor that I use is like a ceiling fan. You can turn off the power and the fan will continue to spin for a while. For how long? For as long as its momentum lasts. And don't think that turning off didn't work because it's still spinning. When you are in the path of personal development, don't think that the techniques you are applying, that your meditations, that your mindset shifts, that your visualizations are not working because change is not immediate. It's a process. You have to have some faith in it, you have to continue with it for some time, and then you feel the results. So self-belief, courage, optimism. Then the fourth element is integrity. Integrity comes from the word integer, which means one. Integrity is being whole, undivided. That when you decide to move forward, the whole of you is moving forward. That when you say no to something, the whole of you is saying no to something. All parts of you are in the same team. No part of you is sabotaging your efforts, second guessing, arguing for your limitations, saying that you shouldn't be doing this, or telling you that you won't succeed. When you have integrity, your energy is not divided. You can be more focused. There are no internal contradictions. And so you can face the challenges ahead of you at full capacity. Now, cultivating integrity in this sense is a process, and it requires self-reflection, wise and compassionate self-dialogue, and in the case of many people, it also involves some therapy or some coaching, the help of another person to help navigate and bring those parts to harmony. For those of you who are members of my app, Mindful Self-Discipline, there is a guided meditation called Harmonize Your Parts. And the purpose of that meditation is to develop this type of integrity. And there are also 2 meditations there that will be helpful for you to develop any of these elements, because all of these elements are virtues. And we have 2 meditations, Absorb Your Virtue and Kindle the Virtue, that you can use that to develop courage or self-belief, focus, whatever is the quality you want to develop. So that is integrity. The opposite of integrity is being divided. It's self-sabotage. It's self-criticism. Now, before I go to the fifth and last element of self-confidence, of these 4 that we have talked about now, self-belief, courage, optimism, and integrity, which one do you feel you need to work on the most? Self-belief, courage, optimism, and integrity. Please let me know in the comments. Mm-hmm. I think most votes are going for self-belief and courage. Yes. Yes. Now, the fifth element, determination. Determination is another word for willpower. And as I said, wise confidence is part of the larger framework of mindful self-discipline that I explain in this book. And mindful self-discipline is an expression of two core skills of awareness and willpower, which is why I use the yellow and the blue in my brand. Awareness is connected to the third eye chakra, and that is, the color for that chakra is the dark blue. And willpower is connected to the solar plexus chakra, which is yellow. And so we have that balance, awareness and willpower, to see and to do, to know and to want, to move, to do. So determination is basically another word for willpower. But I couldn't have an acronym called WISCO. That wouldn't make sense. So DISCO. Okay, so can you guys see me well? Okay. Oh, the colors, I was just saying that yellow is connected to the solar plexus chakra, which is about willpower, and dark blue is connected to the third eye chakra, which is about awareness. So these two elements are key to self-discipline. And here in wise confidence, determination, that's all about willpower. It's an expression of willpower. Now the opposite of determination, or opposites of determination, is hesitation, passivity, inertia, weakness. Confidence involves you believing that you have some power, that you are capable, that you can make a change in yourself and in your environment, in your life. A belief that your actions matter. The more you cultivate willpower, the more you will have confidence. The more you cultivate confidence, the more you will have willpower. They support each other. Determination is that internal resolve to move forward in spite of competing stimuli. That you would definitely meet competing stimuli. Maybe internal, in the sense of an impulse to eat something that you have decided not to eat, or to snooze when you have decided not to snooze, or to procrastinate when you have decided to take action. There will be competing stimuli, internally or even externally. Today is so hot, I don't feel like exercising, or whatever it is. But when you have a determination, you have something inside of you that is stronger than the competing forces. You become your own center of gravity, which means that instead of you gravitating towards other things, towards the strongest pull in the moment, you become still and grounded, and things begin to gravitate towards you. People talk a lot about the law of attraction, but they don't include this one important element: willpower, determination. It's not only think what you want and believe it and it's going to happen. That's why it doesn't work for most people. You need willpower. You need to become your own center of gravity, then things will start gravitating toward you. But if you are moved by every wind, you will not feel very empowered. Is this resonating? In the yoga tradition that is the philosophical underpinning of my practice and my work. There's the concept of manas shakti. I'm going to paste it here. Manas shakti. Manas means mind, and shakti is power. So manas shakti is the power of our mind. And the power of our mind expresses itself as willpower, as focus, determination, and confidence. These are all different faces of the same inner power, the same inner strength. It's the empowerment aspect of my work, of peaceful power or empowered peace. The meditating lion, mindful self-discipline. So there's this deeper concept, this deeper skill that we are all working on as you are practicing this framework. So determination is that dynamic conviction that I must succeed, that I can, and that sooner or later I will. And notice how that feels when you say that to yourself and believe it. Determination is a form of commitment, that I'm committed to making this happen. Therefore it will, because I am not going to move from this path. I like to say, if either your aspirations are bending your reality, or reality is bending your aspirations. It depends on your determination, your willpower. If you fill every corner of your mind with determination, there will be no place left for self-doubt. If there's self-doubt arising, it shows that you're not fully determined. You're not yet fully believing in yourself. You cannot have them both at the same time. It's either light or darkness at any given time. And if there's darkness somewhere inside of us, it's because we haven't shed our light in that corner yet. The comments are not coming, so I don't know if we are still live or if I am frozen. Jeannie, your determination is your gravitational pull for the positive in your life. Yes. Okay, good. Yes. Now, some people have resistance with the term I must or I have to. The way I use this term, it's not something that comes from outside of you. Many of us may have negative experiences with people telling us that you should do this and you must and you have to. And then we rebel. It's not that. It's also not a conditioning. It's not a part inside of you saying that you have to do this, otherwise, it's going to be bad. Otherwise, people are not going to like you. You're not going to be good enough. It's not a conditioning, and it's not an external pressure. This I must. And some people prefer to say I will or I have to. It's a way of framing your intention that carries much more energy, more gravitas, more power to it. I must is a choice to focus all your energy on a single goal, on a single outcome, with full conviction and full commitment. When you feel I must, you're creating a concentration of energy that naturally fills you with confidence. It is voluntarily relinquishing all other options so you generate focus. It is letting go of plan B so that all your energy goes to plan A. You give yourself no other option but to show up as your best. And therefore you will show up as your best, as per your capacity in that moment. We know there are many examples where, there's a car accident and the mother comes out and sees the child under the car. And she goes and lifts that car to save the child. No one knows how. She doesn't know how. She doesn't express a tenth of that strength in their day-to-day life, even if she tries to go to the gym. But in that moment, some almost supernatural strength comes. Because the mind is fully focused. There's no plan B. Plan B doesn't work. My child under the car, plan B doesn't work. So that's not an option. I must lift this car and save my child. Therefore, she does. You see the power of that concentrated energy? It makes us do things that we don't think are possible, that we wouldn't think is capable, that we are capable. Carol asks, what if there's a mismatch with self-view and how we think others see us? Hold on to your self-view. Hold on to your self-view and live life in harmony with it. Let your thinking, your words, your actions be an expression of the person you want to be, of the person you are choosing to be. Even though you may not fully be that, but adopt that as your reality right now. And little by little, your mind, your body, your nervous system will conform and eventually will become an expression of that. And then the world will see it. There are some people who are blind who will never see it. But, you will be an expression of that. That is the process of moving from the conditioned identity to the aspirational identity. I'm going to talk more about that in class number 4, and that will be the core theme from that point onward in this series. So these are the 5 elements of wise confidence. DISCO: determination, integrity, self-belief, courage, and optimism. And these are some key words that represent each of those 5 qualities. All of these images are from the book. So for those of you who pre-order the book, it will arrive in your home soon after the March 12th. And it's also going to be available in audiobook format and in ebook format. It's published by Sounds True. Okay, let me explain this before I show the next image. The way we talk to ourselves and about ourselves, the way we frame our intentions, matter a lot. If you say, I would like to, that's a preference. I would like to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning without snoozing. I would like to lose some weight. I would like to start a new career. I'd like to meditate every day. I'd like to be more peaceful. That's a preference. There's very little energy that is generated by that intention. It's very weak. It's very thin. And so whenever you meet an obstacle, as soon as you meet an obstacle that is a little bit stronger than the energy of that intention, it doesn't go through. A level higher is I would love to. I would love to has a bit more energy about it. I would love to wake up at 6 a.m. without snoozing. I would love to get fit. I would love to become more peaceful. I would love to change my career. It's the I like to, but with a little bit more energy and interest, a little bit more spark. Generates more energy. I want to. Now that's a level higher. That is not a preference or a wish, that's a desire. I want to. I want to wake up at 6 a.m. every morning without snoozing. I want to get fit. I want to become more peaceful. I want to change my career. Now you're generating more energy, which means that you'll be capable of overcoming more obstacles, of staying with it longer, of getting farther. Now higher than that is that sense of, I must. I have to do this. It doesn't give you many other options or any other options. I must is a commitment. I must wake up at 6 a.m. and without snoozing. I must get fit. I must lift that car. I must stop alcohol. I must change my job. It generates another level of energy. And beyond that, the last level is I will. I will has the determination of I must, but it also has belief, self-belief, a conviction, a resolution. And notice what happens when you frame one of the things you want to change about yourself or about your life. When you frame it in these different levels, notice the difference. The stronger is the commitment, the more energy you generate. When you generate more energy, you have more motivation, you have more focus, you feel more confident, you have more capacity to overcome the challenges. The type of challenges I can overcome with this level of energy is only few. But with this level of energy, then I'm tapping into everything that I have, everything that I am. And I'm capable of much more. I'm going to go farther. Is this resonating? I have not shared this concept before this class. Is this being live streamed on YouTube? Yes, it is. I must is often associated with something coming from outside and not necessarily what I want. Yes, I know. And that's why I'm trying to recover this word from that connotation. Some people tell me this from time to time, while other people feel like, oh yeah, when I feel I must, then it's I'm so focused. So see if you can change how you feel about that word, and I haven't found a better word to evoke the same feeling. Other people are not telling you what to do, you are deciding what you want to do and focusing. You can use I will. Yesterday was not on YouTube, no, the connection wasn't great. But it's the same class. Typically the second time I run the same class, it's better because it's more fluid. And also it's my morning, not my late afternoon. Okay, yes, you can replace must with want and make that work. Yes. Now, imagine that your brain or your mind is like a lamp. When your intention is I like to, that intention produces a very small current. It's very low voltage, and therefore it only lights up a little bit of your brain. The lamp produces very little light, very dim light. If your intention is I want to, That is higher voltage. That creates a higher current. It taps into more centers in your brain. The lamp produces more light. If it is I will, that is high voltage. It's a high current. It energizes more areas of your brain. The lamp produces a brighter light. And of course we can say that there are different levels of I will, and you can keep on deepening it. When you produce more light, you see more. You're able to do more, to go further. And so, yes, in mindful self-discipline and in wise confidence, I talk about many different strategies, techniques, and principles. But this one is so important that if you master this principle, you won't need many of the techniques. You can solve most of the challenges with determination. That if there is a challenge you're not overcoming in your life, yes, you can apply different techniques to make it easier, and why not? But at the same time, if you simply increase your determination, your commitment, your willpower, it's much easier. Most challenges can be solved in this way. So that is the place, the value, the meaning of determination. What about I choose or I decide to? What do you think of I choose? You can try this internally. I choose just says that is your choice. It's a little bit like I want to, or I would like. It's more low voltage. I choose to not eat sugar for a month. For me, it's more like stating a fact that no one is making me do this. I am choosing because I want to take care of my health. I will not eat sugar for a month. That's a different thing. There's this concept that has become quite popular in therapy these days, which you should not shoot yourself. And in many occasions that is good advice, it's sound advice. But we can also often throw out the baby with the bathwater with that advice. If we are always beating ourselves up and believing that we should do things that actually come from outside of us, not internally, then yes, in that case, you change that should to no, why should I? Either I want to or I don't want. I should earn more. Why? Why should I earn more? Either you want to or you don't want to. There's no should. Ignore external pressure, conditioning, etc. Make a decision that is authentic to your heart. If you want to, yes, it's because you're choosing to. Not because someone is telling you that you should, that you must. So it's helpful in that way to kind of cut out that external conditioning. But when you want to generate energy to allow you to move forward with focus, with motivation, with confidence, with commitment, then it will be very helpful to frame that decision, which is something that you choose, in a way that makes you feel more high energy about it. You don't need to take my words for it. You can try that. Try one approach for a week. I choose to do this. And try another approach for a week. I feel that I must do this. But with the clarity that I must is my choice. No one is forcing me to. I must because it's my value. It's my goal. I would love to not eat sugar. That would feel amazing. Yes. Now, you can try not eating sugar, and maybe that's going to work. There are many tools that I teach. But if you struggle with making that change again and again, then maybe you need to upgrade that I would love to like I will not, or I must not. Catalina asks, what about the wisdom aspect, being confident that the direction is beneficial, otherwise there is doubt undermining everything? Yes. Wisdom will tell you what to choose, will give you the discernment about what to pursue, what is the highest good for you in a given moment. That is a matter of wisdom, that is a matter of discernment. It helps a lot to have awareness of your values, of your aspirations, self-knowledge. That helps a lot. And that's one element. Having the discernment, making the right choice is one thing. Excuse me. But then having the strength, the discipline, the confidence, the power to make that choice a reality, to make that dream come true, to make that intention manifest, that is another thing. And so yes, is it a problem if we have that inner power but we're choosing the wrong things? Yes, that's a problem. We are fulfilling the wrong intentions. Or at least we're fulfilling something. But the opposite is also a problem, that we know exactly what is the wise choice, what is the right way, but we can't move forward. That's very frustrating. So we need them both. Is I will stronger than I will not, or equally powerful? That's an interesting question. Many people, especially those who are followers of the idea of the law of attraction, they say that you should not use negative words. And I do not believe that in the least. And the spiritual principles that were behind this whole thought power movement that started over a century ago. Every decade there has been a best-selling book around this topic. Think and Grow Rich, As Man Thinketh, The Secret, etc. It has always happened because it's so exciting and right? But the spiritual principles upon which this is based, that doesn't make any sense to say that if it's negative, it's going to be ignored and the other thing is going to happen. No, that makes no sense. The universe is not that dumb, so to speak. It's about the intention. So yes, I will or I will not, they both carry the same strength. If you want to stop smoking, you can make a strong decision that I will not smoke. That doesn't work for everybody. Depends on how strong is your decision. I have coached clients who have stopped smoking and they tried many times using everything, including willpower, and nothing worked. And then one day they made the strong decision, that's it. I must not smoke anymore. No matter what, I will not. And since then they never smoked. So yes, either will or will not, both carry equal strength. I must because I love myself. Yes. Well put. I must not because someone thinks I must and is trying to control me, so that I need to rebel against that and reject it. I must because I want. I must because I choose. I must is a energy upgrade of I choose, of I want. I must not eat any more bread with gluten. Now, so that's about the 5 elements of self-confidence. Now moving on to the next topic, which is clarifying some similar terms. Self-esteem, self-efficacy, self-confidence. What is the difference? Self-esteem answers the question, do I like myself? Am I good? It represents your sense of self-worth or value. It tends to be more of an enduring trait rather than a state that comes and goes. And Abraham Maslow wrote a lot about it. And your self-image is, as I said, a ceiling in your life. But we can change our self-image. There are overlaps between self-esteem and self-confidence, but they are not the same thing. You could have great self-esteem, you love yourself, you like yourself, you feel that you have great value, but you're not so confident about your skills, about your capacity to solve difficult situations and achieve your goals. It could also happen that you have strong courage and self-belief that you can do things, yet deep down you don't like yourself. So these are separate things. You could have one without the other, but typically there is a big overlap, and increasing one of them will increase the other. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Many people confuse these two. Now, what about self-efficacy? That is a term coined by the psychologist Albert Bandura. Self-efficacy answers the question, can I do this? It is self-confidence for a specific skill, for a specific situation. And it's not necessarily transferable to other areas of your life. You may feel very confident in your career, but not so confident when it comes to running your daily life, or building good habits, or managing your finances. Just an example. It's not necessarily transferable. You have self-efficacy in that skill, in that life domain, in that situation. And your self-efficacy is influenced by your history of successes and failures in that activity. Also by vicarious experiences. When you see other people succeed at a task, your self-efficacy is like, oh, maybe I can do that too, increases. You can also increase your self-efficacy through self-talk, visualization, changing your states, etc. And these strategies are widely used in sports and other areas of life where performance is sought. Your self-efficacy is how much you expect that you're going to be successful at a particular activity. And that influences your choice of activity. If you think that you can never meditate, you probably won't pick up meditation. Or if you do, you're just going to do a little bit of it. It also influences the effort you put in. If you think that that you're not good at a particular skill or thing, you're not going to try it wholeheartedly, because internally it doesn't make sense. And it also influences how long you persist with something. Now, self-confidence is your overall perception of your capacity. How much you believe in yourself, how much you trust yourself. Are you willing to bet on yourself? It's your general perception of your capacities. It's your tendency to believe in your skills, your judgments, and the likelihood of success in general. If you have high self-confidence, you may start a class or a skill that you have never done before, but you start that with the belief that I can do this. I'm sure that I can learn. And when you go through that training for a period of time, then you have also self-efficacy, that you know from experience that you can do certain things. But then if you have not only that self-efficacy but also the self-confidence, that continues to push you forward to try difficult challenges. In self-efficacy, if you haven't succeeded at a particular thing, it's going to be hard for you to believe that you can. How much you believe that you can do something that you have never done before, that's more about self-confidence. Self-confidence doesn't require you to have had previous successes at something, but it's enhanced by it. It's more of an assumption. It's about your identity. You have the inclination to believe in yourself or not. It's tied to your self-talk. When you cultivate wise confidence, there's this feeling inside of you that no matter what happens to me, no matter what life throws at me, I'll be able to handle it. I will figure things out. And when you have that sense of confidence, you choose your goals more freely. You don't choose your goals based on, do I think I can make this or not? You choose your goals based on what you want, based on what's valuable for you. You make bigger bets. You take bolder moves. You live life more aligned with your values without letting self-doubt hold you back. For many people, they won't even, as a coach, as a self-discipline coach, I do this work of helping you find your aspirations. But some people have such a thick layer of self-doubt that they won't even allow themselves to look and to consider something else because they already think that that's not for me, I could never succeed at that. So that is the difference between self-esteem, self-efficacy, and self-confidence. And by the way, these classes are made possible by donations of appreciative listeners. No one is paying me to be here. Insight Timer is not paying me to be here. I'm here sharing what I know about these topics because I'm passionate about this and I know it can make a difference. If you are getting value from this class, if you appreciate this class, then consider leaving a donation to support my work. There's a donate button here on Insight Timer, and if you go to the resources page on the website, just go to mindfulselfdiscipline.com/Insight Timer. That's the resources page. There is a donate button there as well. And for all of you, for those of you who are members of my app, Mindful Self-Discipline, thank you for your ongoing support. Thank you, Paula. Your book arrived to my porch last week. Wonderful. Wonderful. Enjoyed the read. Now, we have only 10 minutes left, and I wanted to talk a little bit about wise confidence as a form of balance. Balance between two extremes, the extreme of self-doubt and the extreme of overconfidence. With self-doubt, you are kind of beating yourself up. You are holding yourself back. You are anxious about the results of your efforts, of your actions. There's no certainty. And what that often means is that you don't take a step forward. Or if you do, that step is low voltage, to use our metaphor. It's shy, it's hesitant, half-hearted. It's the low voltage life. It lacks the motivation, the energy needed to overcome most obstacles. Now, the other extreme is overconfidence, or arrogance, or cockiness. You have plenty of certainty. You have motivation, you have energy, you have boldness or courage, but you are blinded. You can't see your biases and shortcomings. You don't prepare for contingencies because you feel so sure that things will happen the best possible way. You expect quick results, which tends to make you impatient. You feel you don't need to try that hard. your optimism is unrealistic. It's the confidence of bullies, narcissists, egomaniacs, toxic people. And when we are in that mode, we are overestimating our skills and underestimating the size of the task in front of us. And that increases our likelihood of failure, of experiencing bad results. So obviously, self-doubt limits us in life, but overconfidence, which is what's sold out there in the name of confidence by and large, that can also limit us. It gives us a boost in many aspects, but there's a price to pay. And the balanced approach is what I call wise confidence. In wise confidence, you have a healthy dose of respect for the challenges ahead of you. You have awareness of your strengths, but also awareness of your weaknesses, your shortcomings. You know that there will be challenges. You believe in your capacity to meet those challenges, and you have the determination to overcome them. You choose to show up as your best self, suspending doubts and negative self-talk. You bet that you will succeed, and yet you also know that there will be failures along the way, and you know how to get up every time you fall. Wise confidence does not involve thinking that you are flawless, or that you'll always succeed, or that you're better than others. That is overconfidence. Wise confidence is that unshakable belief in your potential. Both in self-doubt and in overconfidence, in a way they're both ego trips. You are busy thinking about yourself. In self-doubt, you're thinking, I'm not good enough. I suck. It's not going to work. Yada, yada, yada. In overconfidence, you're thinking, I'm great. This is going to be easy. No problem. They are both forms of ego. In wise confidence, you are not busy thinking about yourself. You are just focused on showing up with courage, optimism, determination, integrity. You show up as your best, you see what happens, you get up and try again. So in a way, wise confidence is egoless. It's not about your self-image. It's not about your self-concept. It's about how you show up. Does this make sense? Thank you, Sonia, for the donation. I would like to let you know that for this season, we are trying an experiment where 6 days a week we're going to have replays of today's class, so that people who cannot attend the whole thing today, or this time doesn't work, or they have only watched half, then you can go and log in to Insight Timer the other days, and it will be a replay of this exact class, and that will be it will be saying that replay, so there's no confusion that at those points I'm not live, but it's a replay, and you and your friends can check in at that time. And so that will be Tuesdays to Sunday at 6 a.m. PST or 2 p.m. London time. So again, Tuesdays to Sundays, 6 a.m. PST or 2 p.m. London time. It's going to be a replay. And in Insight Timer, if you go to my teacher's profile page, it shows their replay. So there's no confusion. Okay, wonderful. Yes. So Peggy asks, help me understand over-planning and under-deliver. How can wise confidence help? Oh, I see. So over planning is often an expression of self-doubt, that you're not secure in your presentation, in your skills, in that particular thing. And so you spend more and more time doing more planning than required so that you feel secure. And the word secure comes from Latin, which means without cares, without worries. Secure. So you are over planning so that you feel a little bit of peace of mind. You're like, okay, this is going to work. The more you cultivate self-confidence in the form of wise confidence, the less you will need to over prepare. You will do an adequate amount of preparation. You also don't just fling it and go without any preparation. That's the workings of overconfidence. Now, under-delivering, that's a different problem. If you're under-delivering, it will be helpful to question why. Why am I under-delivering? If it's because I'm not showing up in my best state, well, then that's something that wise confidence and the practices we're going to cover in the next weeks can definitely help. If I am under-delivering because I don't have a piece of knowledge or skill that I need, well, then it's about developing that skill, acquiring that knowledge. Did you say wise confidence is not thinking about yourself? Yes, wise confidence doesn't involve as much self-referential thinking as the other two extremes. Would we be wrong in our self-talk to say, I do this because... I would need to hear the rest of that sentence, but it doesn't seem to be going the wrong direction. Okay, so before we go, I would love to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from today? What is the one concept, story, insight, approach that you want to make sure you remember and you put into practice in your week? That change is a process? Yes. And by the way, while the answers are coming, thank you, Carol and Elisa, for the donations. Now, the next class will be on the topic of, it will be today was chapter 1 of the coming book. Next week will be chapters 2, 3, and 4. And it's about identifying the obstacles to self-confidence, understanding how they're holding you back, and then understanding the benefits so you're fully motivated for the journey, and giving you an overview of the path ahead. That is the next class. And then from class 3 onward, then every class it's a different technique for building wise confidence. And the resources page, in this season I don't have the summaries in the resources page. I may have later on, but not for now. But if you want to download these new screenshots that I have created, you can find them in the resources page. And in the resources page, you'll also find other elements that will be helpful for you to go deep into the world of mindful self-discipline in general, which include wise confidence. And I want to let you know that the new versions of the app, we're working on the new versions of the MSD app, they will include 22 new guided meditations, most of them around the topic of wise confidence, some of them on focus and some new ones on self-discipline. And over the next 6 months or so, we'll be delivering new versions of the app with new tools, an improved experience. So that is going to be more and more a powerful toolbox for you to live the ethos of mindful self-discipline and wise confidence. Okay, so key takeaways: that our childhood doesn't have to define us or limit us. The scale of intention from I'd like to I will. The self-talk sentences, yes. The difference between self-confidence and self-efficacy in the 5 components model. Breaking the concept down was helpful. Setting the intention and believing that I must or I will, and then take action. Yes. Yes. Okay, so we're going to have the replays for those of you who missed part of today. Yeah, slightly different time, but it's this exact class, this recording. In the future, these classes will also be will be included in the Mindful Self-Discipline app. So you can check that out if you like. And I hope to see you all next week, same day, same time, where we continue our journey into wise confidence. And until then, stay disciplined and take care.